All right, welcome back to another episode of Ask a Clutter Boss. I am Jess Marcy. I'm your Clutter Boss for today, answering your questions that came in this week. And as usual, we have some great questions. So this is Tuesday. It's 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. You are watching this live stream either in our free Facebook group, It's All Clutter, or on YouTube, or on my business page, wherever you are. If you could like, comment, share. If you're on YouTube, follow this channel. That would be incredibly helpful to keeping this content coming every week. So thank you for everyone who's been doing that. Diving into our questions here. How do I decide what to keep and what to let go of? This is a great question to start off. How do I decide what to keep and what to let go of? That really is the crux of decluttering and organization. What fits into your life right now? How do I curate a collection that makes sense for me and my family in this moment? I always think when you are looking at this kind of like from a big picture and you're like, I just am not sure how to make a decision, the best thing you can do is practice making decisions with easy decisions. I mean, decluttering is just a lot of decision making. And we can sometimes get into this trap where we feel like we're not good at making decisions. But when you choose not to make a decision, let's just recognize that you actually are making a decision. So when you choose not to declutter or not to, not to decide to keep or toss something, that's a decision. We're all very good at making decisions, but I think we struggle with what we perceive to be hard or difficult decisions. So we're going to find the easy decisions first. We're just going to practice making easy decisions specifically related to our stuff. In every house, there are things that you are not emotionally attached to. It doesn't matter how long you've had clutter. It doesn't matter how much clutter you have. And honestly, it doesn't matter if you are diagnosed with a disorder that makes it more difficult for you to tackle clutter. I have worked with many clients who have been truly diagnosed with hoarding disorder, usually in combination with OCD or another complication. And even people who would seem to be textbook case most difficult clients can find items that they can let go of. Everyone can find something that they can let go of. And that is your starting point. So instead of just generally, oh gosh, I don't know what I'm going to keep, I don't know how to make a decision. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Find the easy stuff and get into the habit of letting go of that easy stuff. And when you find something that you're not sure about or that you truly love, keep it and know that that's a decision that you've made. It is a well thought out decision. And over time, what is difficult will become easier. And what you decided to keep in the first round, you may decide to let go of in the second round. Things change with decluttering. So you can also ask yourself a couple of questions if you need some guiding questions. How do I decide what to keep and what to let go of? Unfortunately, there's not one correct question for everyone. So you have to sit down and figure out what the best questions are for you right now. If you're working on your clothing, for example, some people may have a hard stop at like 2 years. If I have not worn something for 2 years, out it goes. Other people, that might be the wrong question to ask. So figure out what your questions are. One of my favorite questions is, does this help and support my life right now? Is this supporting the life that I am living, the life that I want to be living, or is it detracting from that life? If it's not specifically supporting my life, if it's clothing that doesn't fit me, if it's sports equipment from sports that my kids used to play and don't play anymore, if it is baby clothing and I have teenagers, it's not supporting my life right now. It's actually detracting from the life that I want to be living right now. That's a great question for me because I only want to keep stuff that is helping and supporting me. I don't want things that are dragging me down. We only have so much time on this earth. Why give my time and attention and mental energy to things that are dragging me down or not supporting my life right now? There's a little learning curve to this, but that's a great guiding question for me. So figure out some guiding questions for yourself and force yourself to make a decision. The decision might be, I'm keeping every single thing here, but at least you've made the decision. Get into the habit of decision making. That is what decluttering is. So thank you for that first question. Great question to kick us off. Question number 2, how often should I declutter my space and how can I involve my family in the decluttering process? How often should I declutter my space? That's a good question. Again, this can come down a little bit to you. I want you to think about decluttering as something that we have to do on a regular basis. If we eat food, we have to deal with dishes every day. Even if we're eating on paper plates, we still have to toss the paper plates into the trash, right? There's an action and then there's an opposite action to keep the equilibrium. If we wear clothing, we have to do laundry, period. It's just something that has to happen. If you are bringing stuff into your house, you have to be decluttering stuff also. Action, opposite action. How often you declutter depends on how much you're bringing into your house, how regularly, how much clutter you have to begin with. But I want you to think about it as an ongoing chore, just like dishes, just like laundry, just like cleaning your house. If you're bringing stuff in, and everyone is bringing stuff in, it is a fact of living. Because we're alive, because we have to shop to survive. And if we're not shopping, we're growing food. I mean, we have to do something. We have to bring things in to continue to support our lives. If, people who say to me, oh, I'm not a shopper, oh, I'm not bringing anything in, really? I really challenge that. There's always stuff coming in. Maybe it's less than other people. Maybe you're not shopping for your stuff, but there is stuff coming in. There needs to be stuff going out. Otherwise, you end up with clutter. And if you are in the process of doing a heavy decluttering because you're living well out of your space, do not bring anything into your house. Do not get in your own way. Literally stop the flow of stuff into your house while you let go of what is already there. Eat down your pantry. Use the stuff you said you're going to use, or let it go. It's just standing in your way. How can I involve my family in the decluttering process? Depends on a lot of factors. Number 1, I would just choose to lead by example. I know one of the things that held me back when I started my decluttering process was I felt like the burden of decluttering fell entirely on my shoulders and nobody else was on board with this, and I was very resentful. I've learned, hold on one second. I have learned since then that resentment is, even when it is justified and valid, which oftentimes it is, staying in a space of resentment is like taking a poisonous pill and expecting somebody else to get sick. You are just poisoning yourself and you're poisoning all of your relationships. So I had to figure out how to come to terms with the resentment, realize that even though I felt like it was very valid and I was very justified in my feelings, it wasn't helping me move forward. So what could I do instead? I know there's a lot of things that I had to really, challenge myself on. I mean, did I have to be grumpy? Did I have to be yelling? Did I have to be upset all the time? Could I try a different way? The answer was yes, of course we can. We can always try doing something differently, even if it feels like we shouldn't have to. But what if it can make a big difference, right? What if it can make a big difference? So in terms of getting your family on board, number 1, lead by example. Your actions and your attitude have a massive impact on the people that you live with, obviously, right? Just like your significant other's actions and attitudes have a massive impact on the people you live with. Your children's attitudes and actions have a massive impact. So lead by example. Encourage, if you have younger children, encourage them to get involved. That's just part of chores, right? If you ask them to help with the laundry, ask them to help with the decluttering. When my kids were younger, I would lay out like 10 stuffed animals, right? We went through that phase of having a gazillion stuffed animals. I would lay out 10 stuffed animals and say, let's just reduce by 20%. Can you pick 2 to let go of? So that way they have control over the process. I'm not telling them you have to let go of this specific thing, but if you want to, live within your space and feel comfortable and not have a dangerous living environment, and, if you want to bring more stuff in, you want to get more stuffed animals, we only have a limited amount of space. We only have a limited amount of money. We only have a limited amount of time. Space is just no different. So what can you do to get your family involved? try something different. Try something different than what you've been doing if it's not working, and come up with creative ways to get them involved and lead by example. And I know probably that's not maybe the answer that everyone wants to hear, but there's no sense in sugarcoating this, okay? We are here to make progress and move forward, and what we have been doing in the past is no longer working. So what is something new to do right now? Will consistent decluttering lead to minimalism? It could if you want it to. So minimalism is kind of a buzzword. If you consistently declutter and do not bring stuff into your house, then yes, ultimately you will be more minimal than you are right now. If you want to truly be a quote unquote minimalist, it's a little bit more than just the amount of stuff that you have. It is a mindset, it is a way of approaching your life. I think you can learn how to be a minimalist by letting go of stuff and learning to live with less and seeing how that feels, seeing some of the wins, some of the positives and the negatives. Definitely, if you don't bring stuff in and you keep decluttering, you will have much less stuff than you have right now. It's the road to minimalism, but minimalism is more than just what you have in your house. So I would, if you want to be a minimalist, I would dive into that whole subculture, learn about it, change your mindset first, because minimalism is definitely, I think, a mindset in addition to a way of living, and try it on and see how it feels. There's a very, very long question here that I'm going to kind of sum up. So the question comes from somebody who is in their 70s and has many rooms full of stuff and doesn't have support. I've also done things to serve others, but never to serve myself. I never valued me. I say that I went to bed young and woke up old. How can I do this without support? Okay, this is a really good question. And I feel like it is very difficult to declutter without support, because clutter is never just about the stuff. Clutter is about a lot of other things. It's about our finances, our emotions, our identity, our history, our relationships. Clutter touches all aspects of our lives. In order to effectively declutter, you definitely do need support. You can get support from hiring somebody to come into your house, which is pretty expensive, but a way to do that. And if you do go down that road, make sure that you ask the person before they come to your house if they have a judgment-free philosophy, and if they ever force you to let go of stuff. Because if they do, that's not somebody that you want helping you. You can also get support from our Facebook groups and the resources that we have available. We have It's All Clutter. That is a great place to get support. But here's the thing. You have to ask for it. You have to ask for support. You have to say specifically what you need help with. You have to say, I am looking for a clutter buddy. You have to say what you need. You have to advocate for yourself. This is what empowerment is. It's advocating for yourself. Nobody can read your mind. Nobody knows what's going on in your life. Nobody knows that you need support unless you specifically say, I need support, and then be open to talking to somebody about what that support looks like. And I would also say, be open to spending some money to get the support, because there's very few things in life that are truly, truly free. And when you decide to invest in support instead of investing in stuff, your whole life changes. So we have different programs that start at $10 a month or $15 a month. We also have free groups and resources, but whatever you choose to do, make an investment. And even if you can't make a financial investment, then invest in yourself by showing up consistently. That is a huge investment. It's a big ask, but if you do that, things in your life will change. Definitely, I always recommend having a therapist that you're working with. if at all possible, that can absolutely support this process. Have a friend that you can talk to. Know what you're going to need. You can do this with support. It's very difficult to do it without support, but you have to look for that support. You have to be ruthless in finding that support. You cannot expect other people to just know what's going on and jump in. Nobody knows. Nobody's a mind reader. You have to empower yourself. You have to fight for yourself every single day to get the support that you need. And at the same time, as you're fighting for that support, fight for yourself with your stuff. Let go of the easy stuff. Start this process. Don't wait for it to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. That's not a real thing. That's a TV thing. It's never going to be perfect. Dive in and keep figuring out what works. Okay, we posted a question that had the most comments ever of any post we've ever done. And it was, what was the worst advice you've been given when it comes to decluttering? So we have a couple of comments in here that we're going to dive into. And then I will be doing a full podcast episode on this question, sharing some of your responses. So look for that coming out early next week. One of the comments from that post, what's the worst advice you've been given when it comes to decluttering? Just throw everything away and then realize later you need the items you have given away or sold. Okay, just throw everything away. We don't like to work in extremes. This is not all or nothing. It's not, we have to throw everything away. That would be bad advice. Throwing everything away is terrible advice. Instead, let go of the easy stuff. How often do I say that? Let go of the easy stuff. If you think you might need something and you're not sure, put a note on it that says, if I haven't used this in 6 months, I'm okay to let it go, right? Put a date on it. Sometimes we need a 2-step process where we hang on to stuff for a limited amount of time and then let it go or choose to keep it. But if you're going to do that two-step process, don't fool yourself and say, I'm going to look at this in 6 months. Make sure you actually are accountable and look at it in 6 months. Otherwise, you're not doing anything. You're just shuffling clutter. The other thing I like, the minimalists, if you follow them, they have a 20-20 rule. And this is a great one. If I can replace something for $20 in 20 minutes, it's okay to let it go. I really like that because truly, I would rather not deal with extra stuff in my life, even if I am going to need it at some point in the future. If it's less than $20 and I can replace it in less than 20 minutes, it's very low risk to let it go. So that's a good one for me. Your rule might be 10-10, it might be 30-30, it might be 100-100. I don't know. But if you can put time and money around the decision, because we love putting time and money around everything, we value everything in time and money, go ahead and do that. And then maybe that will help you justify letting something go that there is a chance that you might need it in the future. So good comment there. What's the worst advice you've been given when it comes to decluttering? This one was interesting too. Start small is bad advice. Get rid of something big and you will feel more accomplished. It can be anything, a chair, a stack of empty boxes, but don't start by sorting paper clips. I will respectfully disagree with this. I think the right starting point is different for everyone. And for some people, starting small is bad. You should go for something bigger because you'll feel more accomplished and free up more space. For other people, starting small is exactly where you need to start. So you need to get a win under your belt. You need to feel the accomplishment of letting go of paper clips or whatever the small thing is. You need that small, consistent step. The best thing that you can do when it comes to listening to decluttering advice is filter it. Just like we filter all other information, filter what you think is going to work for you and what you think is not going to work for you. But don't assume that what works for you is going to work for everyone. We're all unique. Isn't that amazing? We all have different things that work for us. What is the worst advice you've been given when it comes to decluttering? Just let it go. If it were that easy, I wouldn't have a clutter issue. I agree. It's not that easy. This is very complicated. And my question to you, if you're watching this right now, we have a lot of people watching this live stream, is what do you want to say to people in your life about your clutter issue? I'll probably make this a Facebook post at some point in the future, but what is your comment to others who would say something to you like, just get rid of it, just throw it out, it's all garbage, just let it go. What do you want to share about clutter with other people who don't quite understand? I think that would be a good answer to this to this whole conundrum here. Start this conversation, talk to other people about it. I think clutter can be very isolating, and there's a lot of shame around clutter. So let people in your close family and friends know clutter is complicated. There is a step forward, there is a path forward, but it's not very straightforward, and it's not just letting stuff go, because you have to process a lot of emotions and life and history when you just let stuff go. So open up that line of communication with your friends and family and help them understand that it is a bigger picture. All right. That is the end of Ask a Clutter Boss for today, but we are live next week, same time, same place. And once again, if you have just tuned in, please go ahead and make sure you like, comment, share, follow this channel, do all those things. It really helps small businesses like ours keep free content coming, makes a big difference to us. So thank you for your support with that. And I look forward to seeing you all next week. If you have questions, don't forget to get them to us, support@prioritizeyoursanity.com. Have a great day, everyone.